Welcome to Chapter 5, Creating Web Pages. The essential outcomes. You will be creating and designing an entire website using codes from all your chapters by structuring and styling horizontal and vertical, absolute and relative navbars, utilizing universal fonts such as Google Fonts, inserting music and embedding video, creating and designing relative pages, and connecting key terms in the chapter with the application. Section 5-1, Horizontal Navbars. There are two types of navbars for links. Relative navbars. These are navbars that are used for your internal pages for your website, such as the home page. They are specific pages. Remember, the home page is always saved as index.html. There's also absolute navbars. Navbars are links that access external pages to other websites. Usually these websites are similar. For example, a football website might include links to websites such as NFL and ESPN. They're usually added to a website as a courtesy to users. The links can be text or images for your absolute navbars. If you use images, you need to make sure you use Creative Commons images. Looking at the horizontal navbar. Horizontal navbars run from the left margin to the right margin. They function as a block level element. In other words, they are going to take up the entire space between the left margin and the right margin. So again, these navbars need to be set so that we kind of trick CSS into believing that they can be smaller. The example below demonstrates a horizontal relative navbar. If you notice, the navbar contains the Home tab, Chemistry tab, Literature tab, Peace tab, Physics tab, and Physiology and Medicine tab. These are all pages within this website. Navbars can be placed above or below the header on a web page. So, looking at our relative navbars, last chapter you learned how to style vertical relative navbars and its links. This chapter you will learn how to style horizontal navbars, still using styling that you used to set up your original vertical relative navbars. The relative horizontal navbar is always set up in an unordered list, just like all navbars are. The difference between a horizontal and a vertical navbar is in the CSS styling. Setting up a horizontal navbar. The first step is to create the navbar section that will house your relative navbars. This is following exactly what you learned from the beginning of the year through Chapter 4. The horizontal links are set up as an unordered list, and they will be the first link in the navbar of the home page. Again, you may place them above the header or the masthead or below the masthead. Step 2. You are going to have to create dividers between each section. This part, step 2, is something that you did not have to do for vertical navbars. However, you need to do this for your horizontal. So the first thing we will do is we will add an additional LI line tag to set up the dividers between each of the pages. The bar key that you use to divide them is above the Enter key. you will, after the opening LI, you will add the non-break character amber NBSP semicolon. This adds blank horizontal spacing. So what we're doing is we're adding two spaces before the bar and 2 spaces after the bar, so that the names of our relative links will not be right on top of each other. You can use more than two of these non-break characters. Is up to you. It's based on preference. So if you look after each of the pages, we have added a LI with our bar key. The nav bar, when you have done this, will look as follows. Notice that it is still in a vertical position. The only difference is that now we have a blank line that houses the bar line between each of the pages. Step 3. We are now going to add the styling that we learned in Chapter 4. We will set up the CSS nav with the width and the heights. We will float it. We'll add the margin top, border, etc., whatever you use for your nav bars. Secondly, we will set up the UILI CSS. That will be the list style type, none, which removes the bullets. You can add your top margin, left margin, and then you definitely want to add a font size. Your font size should be a little bit larger than the text that is going to appear on the regular part of your home page. Then we will do styling for the ULLI comma anchor tag. The text decoration, remember, turns off the line, and then you can add your color, and then if you want to bold them, which you normally do so they stand out on the page, you can add font weight bold. And then lastly, you will set up your LI and then anchor colon hover. This will set up your text decoration with an underline so that when the user hovers over that page name, the underline will appear. Step 4. Then what we're going to do is we want to make this nav bar the same maximum width and min width as our header. So you're going to have to kind of play with this, but you're going to adjust the min width and the max width so it's similar to the nav. You just want to make sure they are the same size. You also want to remove any margins from your nav CSS selector. Once you get it set up, we want the margins gone. Step 5. Now it's time to add some new CSS styling that applies directly to the unordered list inside the nav tag. First, we're going to set up, following the nav CSS styling, we are going to set up a CS style for the nav unordered list. So we're going to type in nav space UL, and then we'll put in our brackets. The next declaration we want to include is display colon table. This will tell the browser to display the list in table format, which is what we need to do. This is all part of tricking CSS. Then we are going to add margin dash right auto, margin dash left auto. The auto will tell the browser to center the table between the left and the right margin. Step 6. In the ULLI comma A colon CSS styling, we need to add some CSS declarations. First, we're going to add the declaration display colon space inline. This CSS declaration will tell the browser to align the table horizontally. We will then add font size, font family, font variant, and font weight. Last, we want to make sure we add color so that when the cursor hovers over the link, it changes color. When you're done, the website should be color-coded. You should have a minimum number of colors for the website. There should be no more than 3. Notice that in the above example, we have 3 colors: black, tan, and green. And also notice that when the text is hovered over by the cursor, the link changes color and an underline appears. Plus, you notice that you have a screen tip. Congratulations, you have just finished part 1. Create a Chapter 5 folder inside your web design folder. Copy the potato chip folder in your Chapter 4 folder and paste it inside your Chapter 5. Open up the potato chip index.html page located inside your Chapter 5 folder in Notepad++. Following the directions given in this PowerPoint, create a horizontal nav bar for relative links. You may place it above the masthead or underneath it. When you finish creating and styling your nav bar, show your work to your teacher. Congratulations, you have just finished part 1. When you have shown me your work, please move on to part 2.